everyone. My name is Masuda Ahmadi and I'm a current student at Seneca College in the International Transportation Customs program. And the purpose of this video is to basically demonstrate a clear understanding of how the importing and the exporting works in the freight forwarding industry. And for anyone that's interested in this program or any students that are looking to get to work, this video will give you a better insight on how everything operates in the freight forwarding industry. So a freight forwarder is an agent who acts on behalf of the importer, exporter, or any other companies in order to organize a safe, efficient, and a cost-effective transportation of goods. You will use computer systems to arrange the best means of transport, taking into account the type of goods and the customer's delivery requirements. A freight forwarder also specializes in organization and arrangement of storage and the shipping of the merchandise on behalf of its shipper. There is a misconception that forwarders move the goods by themselves, but they do not move the goods. They are just acting as a specialist in logistics. The carriers they use have a variety of modes of transportation, such as ships, airplanes, trucks, and railroads. What they basically do is they help you in selecting and booking the best transportation modes, whether it be air, ocean, or ground, to ensure all time and cost-effective delivery. Negotiating freight rates within the carriers, and they also consolidate shipments, arrange for the packages for protection and safe handling of your goods. Freight forwarders are also known to be as the architects of transportation, and the reason for that is because freight forwarders design and present solutions to meet customers' needs. They must have knowledge of a multitude of regulations governing the transaction. For example, the International Marital Law, which is basically when you send your shipment at 7 a.m. from Canada, what time it will be arriving at Australia on the following Tuesday, for example. The marital law is an important concept that needs to be understood by a freight forwarder, and as well as the cargo insurance laws and regulations, along with customs, cargo, security, etc. Just to give you a little brief history of the background and how everything began in the freight forwarding industry, when the rail transports and the stream ships were created, it created a demand for a fledgling freight forwarding industry, and when the trade developed between Europe and North America, this created an additional demand. So they had to operate on a bigger scale and be internationally known. I will now be explaining how the freight forwarding profession works in Canada. The Canadian International Freight Forwarders Association is who represents and supports the members of the Canadian International Freight Forwarder industry, and they are professionals who provide a high level of quality of services to their clients that sign up with them. Every CIFFA member must commit to abide by the professional code of conduct as follows. Discharge his duties with honesty and integrity, providing a standard of competence to their clients in an efficient manner on the client's behalf, holding a strict confidence in all of the information received regarding the affairs of their client. Also making sure not to share any information with any other parties except for a good cause and upon an appropriate notice legally. The CIFFA is a member of the CBSA, so they have to sign up with the Canadian Border Services Agency, and this agency basically ensures Canada's security and prosperity by facilitating and overseeing international travel and trades across Canada's borders. They are a federal institution that is part of the public safety portfolio. The freight forwarders design and present solutions to meet their customers' needs. I will be showing you guys a simple chart with 20 steps showing how the forwarding process works, and it'll give you a better understanding of the whole shipping, forwarding process from the beginning to an end with 20 steps. Step number 1 is basically importers order goods from the supplier. Step number 2 would be the invoices provided. Then purchase order is created. Step number 4 would be the buyer hires a freight forwarder to handle the transports of the good. Step number 5 is for the freight forwarder. The freight forwarder confirms the Incoterms with the buyer and the supplier. Number 6 is buyer obtains a letter of credit from the bank to pay for the goods. Number 7 is the supplier's bank approves the letter of credit. Step number 6 is the buyer obtains a letter of credit from the bank to pay for the goods, and the supplier's bank approves the letter of credit. And then at step number 8, the manufacturing of the goods begin. Step number 9 is when the supplier provides the buyer an order of confirmation and the commercial invoice along with that. Step number 10 is the freight forwarder contacts their overseas partners to arrange the movement of the goods locally. Step number 11 is when the agent contacts the suppliers locally to arrange the movement of the freight. 12 is the supplier provides all the documents necessary for export, which will be handled on the buyer's behalf by the freight forwarder. Number 13 is with the documentation in order, the supplier books the shipment for export. Then when a carrier arrives to pick up the goods at the supplier's warehouse, a bill of lading is issued. The buyer will be required to present the bill of lading in order to secure the release of the shipment and to claim overshipment over the goods. The freight forwarder can manage this process. Step number 16 is goods are customs cleared and delivered to the agreed location of the buyer. And the suppliers complete the export declaration at step number 18. Only then goods are placed in the international transit. Step number 19, goods arrive in the buyer's country for import clearance. The final step, step number 20, the cleared goods are finally delivered from the destination country port to the buyer. Some of the services that they provide, the freight forwarders, are they arrange the entire shipping process from negotiating rates with carriers, booking transport, arranging pickups, preparing and submitting required documents, reporting to customs, and coordinating delivery to the final destination. The commercial invoice is a document detailing the price and the quantity of the sold goods, also containing the Incoterm used, which is widely used for terms of sale. Top. And lastly, there's a 5 top lists of supply chains companies. Shipper's export declaration is required for controlled prohibited goods or regulated goods, regardless of their value, that are destined for consumption. Bill of lading is a contract issued by the carrier to acknowledge the receipt of cargo for shipment. Certificate of origin is a statement which is widely used in international trade transactions, which basically attests that the product listed therein has met certain criteria to be considered as originated particular country. Inspection certificate is a document used to signify that the shipped goods have been inspected in order to certify that they confirm the terms stated on the sales contract. Only required on specific goods such as industrial equipment, perishable items, and meat. Export license grants permissions to conduct a certain type of export instructions. It's used by the appropriate license agency after a careful review of the facts surrounding the given export transaction. Export packing list is a detailed document that states all of the products and packaging details contained in each shipment. Shippers must create a compliant packaging list document to be used by parties along the supply chain. Shipper's export declaration is also required to control prohibited goods or regulated goods as long as they're destined for consumption. Shipper's export declaration is required for controlled prohibited goods or regulated goods, regardless of their value, that are destined for consumption. C&D Logistics, it's a trusted source in global logistics. CTC Logistics is unparalleled international business knowledge. World Cargo, TradeLink International, MWPVL International are the list of 5 top forwarder in Canada.